You know that feeling, right? You're scrolling online and you see these incredible pictures of cozy cabins, lush gardens, and you just dream of a life totally off the grid. It's such a powerful idea, being completely independent. But what does it really take to make that happen? Today, we're going to dig into that, the beautiful dream, and the sometimes pretty harsh reality. So, what is it that pulls us so hard toward this simpler life? I think this quote really gets to the heart of it. For a lot of us, the modern world just feels cold, disconnected. You know? We're surrounded by all this technology, but we don't always feel connected to each other or to the world. This whole search for self-sufficiency, it's really a search for something real, something to hold on to when everything else feels a bit fake. Okay, so before we go any further, we got to get two key terms straight because they get mixed up all the time. Think of it this way. Self-sufficiency is like having your basement stocked with emergency food. It'll absolutely get you through a crisis, no problem. But self-sustainability, that's like planting an entire food forest. It's a living, breathing system that's designed to feed you year after year. One is about surviving tomorrow, the other is about thriving for a lifetime. So, why are so many people even questioning the way we live? Well, it kind of boils down to a major problem with how we define progress. Our entire world is built on one single idea: infinite growth. But there's a huge catch. We live on a very, very finite planet. And this number, wow, this shows you just how big that problem is. To support the way we live and consume right now, globally, we need the resources of 1.5 Earths every single year. It's called ecological overshoot, and it's like we're just constantly writing checks that our planet can't cash. Eventually, that bank account is going to run dry. So what's the alternative? There's this pretty radical idea that's been gaining steam called degrowth. Now, this isn't about causing a recession or anything like that. It's a planned, deliberate choice to scale back our consumption so that we can actually live within our planet's means. The goal is something called frugal abundance, a life that's rich in things like time and community and well-being, not just stuff. So, yeah, less stuff, but a much richer life. Okay, so degrowth is the big picture theory, but how does that actually translate into your life as an individual? Well, this brings us to the really fun part, the practical toolkit people are using to build their own version of this dream. These are the tools for independence. And at the absolute heart of this toolkit is an amazing philosophy called permaculture. Now listen, this is so much more than just organic gardening. Instead of fighting nature, with the perfect little rows and constant weeding, permaculture is all about designing a system that works like nature. It's about creating a smart, self-regulating ecosystem where everything just works together. One of the most brilliant concepts in permaculture is this idea of zones, and it's based on one really simple principle. How often do you need to visit a spot? So your kitchen herbs, the things you snip every day, they go in zone 1, right outside your door. Your main crops, you visit them less, so they go a bit further out in zone 3. And zone 5, you basically leave that as a wild space. It's just an incredibly smart, energy-efficient way to design your homestead and your life. And the best part is that you don't have to pack up and move to a farm tomorrow. This journey starts with small, really powerful actions. Things like starting a little garden in a container on your porch, setting up a rain barrel, or learning how to preserve food. Every single one of these is a skill that builds your confidence and gets you one step closer to that feeling of independence. But okay, for every romantic Instagram picture of a perfect harvest, there is a very muddy, very real reality. This life is not all beautiful sunsets and wicker baskets full of vegetables. It is time for a serious reality check on the tough, unglamorous side of homesteading. And this really is the question that cuts right through the fantasy, isn't it? After the initial excitement wears off, when all the hard work just becomes your daily routine, what is this life really like? I think this quote from a homesteader just nails it perfectly. Simple is not always easy. It captures this huge paradox. We think of a simple life as being free from modern stress, but that doesn't mean it's an easy life. In fact, the physical and mental work it takes to maintain that simplicity, it can be unbelievably demanding. And this table here really lays it all out, the dream versus the grind. You expect to have more freedom, a slower pace of life. The reality is, there are no days off. The animals need to be fed every single day, rain or shine. You picture this beautiful, bountiful harvest, but you're constantly fighting pests and unpredictable weather. And that dream of total independence,
Yeah, that can get real lonely real fast. It can feel a lot like isolation.
And there are these hidden demands too. The learning curve is basically a vertical line. One day you're a gardener, the next you're a plumber, and then you're a veterinarian. There's the emotional toll of raising animals, where life and death are just a part of the daily routine. And you are fundamentally vulnerable to a freak hailstorm, a crop failure, or a piece of essential equipment breaking down. So with all of these intense challenges, it kind of makes you wonder, is the dream of total self-sufficiency even the right goal? Maybe, just maybe, there's a more resilient and ultimately more sustainable path we can take.
And this leads us to a different way of thinking, sometimes called the sufficiency economy philosophy. So instead of trying to be completely independent from everything and everyone, the focus here is on moderation, being reasonable, and building what it calls self-immunity. Think of it like a strong immune system for your life. You're not trying to avoid all threats, but you're building up the resilience to handle the shocks when they inevitably come.
This is where the whole goal really shifts. We move away from individual self-sufficiency and towards something called interdependent resilience. The new way of thinking is that real strength isn't found by being an isolated island. It's found in being a strong, reliable part of a connected, supportive network. And why is this community approach just so much more powerful? Well, it's pretty simple. Nobody has to be an expert in everything. Your neighbor might be the mechanic who can fix your tiller, while you're the expert at canning the harvest that you both share. When you pool your skills and resources, the entire community becomes way more resilient than any single person could ever hope to be on their own. And so that really leaves us with this one final thought. In this whole search for a more sustainable life, maybe the ultimate goal isn't to build a fortress for one person. Perhaps the real dream is to become a vital, contributing part of a thriving,